So we have been looking at iterative methods for solving linear algebraic equations, and we have looked at Gauss-Seidel, Jacobi relaxation methods and its variants. We also have looked at the convergence behavior. We have analyzed convergence behavior, and we know how to ensure convergence by modifying the problem and so on. Now, there is one more iterative method which is quite popular and which also converges pretty fast. So, this is numerical optimization based method. So, well, one of the reasons for covering this is that this will be also useful when we go forward to nonlinear algebraic equations. So, as I said, we want to solve this problem Ax equal to b, and then this can be solved by minimizing with respect to x. Ax minus b transpose Ax minus b. If I minimize this with respect to x, then I can reach the solution of Ax equal to b. In fact, I reach the solution. If I take this as phi, then dou phi by dou x, the necessary condition for optimality turns out to be A transpose Ax minus b equal to 0. And obviously, if A is non-singular, if necessary condition is satisfied, you will reach the optimum. The second derivative, what is second derivative here? The second derivative will be A transpose A, which is symmetric positive definite, so you are actually reaching the global minimum. Okay. Yesterday somebody had a doubt that iterative methods that we have looked at, will they give you local solution or global solution? Jacobi method, Gauss-Seidel method, relaxation method, if those methods are converging, if we know that they are converging, they will converge to the global solution. For linear algebraic equations, there is nothing like local and global solution. If they are converging, they will converge to the global solution. Now, of course, we can a little bit simplify this. If A is a symmetric positive definite matrix, in that case, we can just minimize with respect to x half x transpose Ax minus x transpose b. If A is symmetric positive definite, okay, A is a special case, symmetric positive definite, then minimizing this objective function will give you the optimum. Now, I want to do a general method called gradients based optimization method. This is now described in appendix D. Okay, in my notes this is described in appendix D on page 48. Okay, I want to solve this using a numerical search. I want to solve this using numerical search. I don't want to use this condition directly. I don't want to use this condition and solve it. Okay. If I were to use this condition and then solve it for x, it will be either iterative method or it will be a direct method. I don't want to go into that. I don't want to use Gauss-Seidel or anything. I want to use an iterative scheme which is based on optimization techniques. Okay. Optimization techniques in general deal with, so I am going to do this gradient method. This is also called as steepest descent method. So, right now I am going to be worried about developing an iterative method for minimizing with respect to x some objective function phi x, where phi x is from Rn to R. Phi x is a scalar objective function, some scalar objective function. It need not be norm. It need not be, it is some objective function that you have defined. Okay. It need not be always positive. I am not worried about that. I am just worried about a scalar objective function. So it is Rn to R. Okay. I want to come up with an iterative scheme to reach a local minimum in this particular case, because in general phi x need not be nicely behaved. Okay. And then after I derive that, I want to apply it to this specific case. Okay. So I want to the purpose is twofold. One is to introduce to you gradient based methods, okay, and its variants, which are very, very useful in optimization, and I will show you what are the applications later. So numerical search which is based on gradient, and then we will of course apply it to our specific problem, that is solving linear algebraic equations. Okay. So this method is also known as steepest descent. You may have done this in your undergraduate, I am not too sure. It is called steepest descent. It is also called Cauchy method. It is called Cauchy's method. It is known by various names. Gradient based method. The basic idea is that if I look at a level surface, what is a level surface? Level surface is a set of points x, is set of all points x such that phi x is equal to constant. It's a scalar objective function, right? It's a scalar objective function. So phi x equal to constant. I want to look at level surfaces. That is, I want to look at locus of x. Let's say if it is two-dimensional object, if it is x is a vector which is in 2 dimensions, x1, x2, okay, I am actually looking at okay. So this is say C1, this is C2, this is C3, this is C4 and so on. So this is my x1, x2. This is my x1, x2 plane. I am plotting all those points. I am plotting all those points in x1, x2 plane, for which phi of x1, x2 is equal to constant. So let's say this is 5, this is 4, this is 3, this is 2. I am plotting all the points, locus of all the points. These are called as level surfaces. They are called as level surfaces. Okay. I am not plotting phi of x in this plot. I am not plotting phi of x. Okay. I am plotting. So actually, if you do a 3-dimensional plot, x1, x2 and phi, okay, this will be nothing but a cross-sectional plane projected onto x1, x2. It's set of all points. See, if have you seen MATLAB symbol? MATLAB symbol is like one peak, right? Now, if you take it as an objective function, okay, let's say height above the, or take mountain, height of the mountain above the ground surface is the objective function. Okay, I am trying to find out set of all points where the height is constant. Okay, how will you get it? Take a plane horizontal to xy, project it onto x and y. You will get the set of all points. So these are set of all points. What is phi x? View phi x as a height. Okay, and x1, x2 as ground locations. If you take constant level, it's also called level surface. Probably the reason for level surface is to relate it to level. Okay, they are called as level surfaces. Okay, now I am going to use the local behavior of these level surfaces to come up with an iteration scheme for solving this minimization problem. For the time being, I am going to forget about solving linear algebraic equations. I am just concentrating on this general problem. Some phi of x, it need not be this phi of x, any phi of x, okay, not a specific one. So what I am going to do now is, let's say I have some guess solution. Xk is some guess solution. Xk may not unlikely to minimize, but SA is my guess. What is the philosophy in iterative methods? You start with a guess and then you move on to next guess, right? Start with one guess, move on to next guess, and then hope that iterations converge, okay, to the solution. In this case, what it will converge to will be a local solution. Well, in some cases it will converge to the global solution, but that depends. It depends upon the problem, it depends upon your initial guess. If the problem is highly nonlinear with funny shapes, it depends upon. If the problem is one which has only one peak or one valley, well, it will reach the global minimum. Okay. So Xk is my guess solution. Well, our good old friend is Taylor series theorem, and I am going to use Taylor series theorem to phi x I am going to write as phi xk plus okay, which is same as phi xk plus delta xk, where delta xk is obviously x minus xk. So this is my x minus xk. This is delta xk. Okay, if I do Taylor series approximation in the neighborhood of xk, okay, so this is approximately equal to, this phi of x is approximately equal to phi at xk plus grad phi. So let's develop a notation. Or let's put this grad phi xk. So gradient of phi evaluated at xk, that is what I mean. So this transpose delta xk okay, and there will be higher order terms. Okay, I am neglecting higher order terms. I am looking locally in the neighborhood of xk, how this function behaves. Okay, how does this function behave in the neighborhood of xk? And then I want to look at the level surface, that is phi x is equal to constant. I want to look at level surface phi x equal to constant. Okay, I want to look at level surface phi x equal to constant in a small neighborhood of xk, some point xk. Okay, I get this approximation of phi x as this. Okay, what happens at x equal to xk? Delta xk is equal to 0. Okay, so which means at x equal to xk, if I am looking at a level surface, okay, that means phi xk is equal to constant at that point. See, suppose you, let's go back to here. Let's say this is your xk, this is my xk. Okay, I am trying to model this curve locally. I am trying to model this curve locally. Okay, you will see that actually I will model it using the tangent. Okay, I will model it using a tangent plane. That will become clear now soon. So, what is the simplest approximation? This curve is there. What is the simplest approximation you can construct? Straight line. Locally, for a small neighborhood, you can construct a straight line approximation to the curve. That's what I am doing. How do I get the slope of the straight line? through Taylor series. I am getting the slope of the local slope of this line through Taylor series. Okay, so Taylor series is my vehicle to construct the local approximation. So now this phi xk is constant. Phi xk is constant. If I substitute here, okay, what will I get? See, this becomes C. So C equal to C. So what is the local behavior of the curve? So this implies that gradient of phi at xk transpose delta xk is equal to 0. Is everyone with me on this? This is a scalar function, by the way. This is a vector, gradient is a vector. Okay, this is also a vector. Delta xk is also a vector. Okay, so this transpose this is 0. Geometrically, what does it mean? Yeah? The gradient is perpendicular to delta xk. Delta x minus xk is perpendicular locally to the gradient. Okay, so locally gradient of phi is orthogonal to x minus xk. This is what we have found out. Actually this gradient transpose delta xk equal to 0, okay, is a equation of the tangent plane to the level surface. Okay, in general I am talking in n dimensions. It's a tangent hyperplane in the n dimensional space. Okay, so well, what I want to show here is that this local behavior of the function in the neighborhood of the point xk can be used to find out the direction in which function decreases at the maximum rate. See, if I am at xk, let's go back here. What I am doing, I am minimizing phi. Okay, I am minimizing phi. So if I want to move from xk to xk plus 1, which direction I should move? I should move in that direction in which function decreases at the maximum rate. Why? Why? Question is, why is it? What is directional derivative? So I want to prove it. Angle will be? So which is the directional derivative here? Delta xk is a directional derivative or gradient is a directional derivative? Gradient is a directional derivative. So I want to show that if delta xk is aligned along the directional derivative, that is gradient, then function increases maximum. Okay, if it is aligned along negative of the gradient direction, then the function decreases maximum. Okay, so this local gradient actually gives me maximum rate of increase, and negative of that gives me maximum rate of decrease, and I am going to use this local gradient to come up with a new point xk plus 1. Okay, so before I do that, I have to show that this is the maximum, the direction of maximum descent. So first interpretation that we have learnt here is that this is nothing but equation of the tangent hyperplane, and delta xk is perpendicular to the gradient locally. Okay. Now, so I am looking at set of all x. I am looking at a unit ball in the neighborhood of xk. Okay, I am constructing a small unit ball in the neighborhood of xk. Okay, such that its set of all points such that magnitude is unity of delta xk. Okay, so just if you go back to this figure, I am constructing a small unit ball here. I am constructing a small unit ball here such that you pick up any point, okay, its distance from xk is less than 1. The distance from, is this clear? I am just picking up a set to do the analysis. Okay. Now what's going to help me here is something that you probably can guess. What's going to help me here is Cauchy-Schwarz inequality. Okay. This is inner product of this vector with this vector, okay, which is less than or equal to by Cauchy-Schwarz inequality. What is this? This is norm right, but then I am looking at set of all x in the unit ball, okay. So this is 1, maximum value this can take is 1, so which means, okay, so if this is 1, so maximum value this can take is 1, then I can write that grad phi xk transpose delta xk, this quantity, okay, is strictly less than norm of this, right. This inequality also means that minus of is less than I have just expanded this inequality. Here I had written absolute value. So in a unit ball in the neighborhood of xk, I can say that this quantity is bounded between these two numbers. This is a positive number, this is a negative number. This quantity cannot be smaller than this. What is the smallest value this quantity can take? When will it take this value? When delta x is aligned along which direction? Gradient direction. When delta x is aligned along gradient direction, this inequality will be equality. Smallest change. Now why I am worried about this? Okay, let's go back and look here. Let's retain this figure. Let's go back here. See this phi x, which is written as phi xk plus delta xk, right? I have written this like this, and actually I am worried about how this function behaves, phi x minus phi xk, phi x minus phi xk. I want to go to x from xk. I want to go to a new value x from xk. Okay. This is, we say that in small neighborhood, this is approximately equal to gradient of phi, okay, gradient of phi is given by this, okay. So this, the behavior of this quantity actually dictates how locally how this function behaves locally. Is it clear? This is Taylor series expansion. I just wrote this some time back. Okay, I am just rearranging. This. This thing on the right hand side. I have taken it on the left hand side. Okay. See, if I move away from xk to some new x. Okay. If I move away from xk to new x. which direction I should move. If I want to decrease the function, which direction I should move? I should move negative of the gradient direction. Okay, because what is the smallest value this can take? Using, see, I am restricting myself to a unit ball around xk. I want to move inside this unit ball. I just want to know where to move inside this unit ball. What is the objective? I want to move in such a way that the function decreases at the maximum rate. Okay. Now I know that from this Cauchy inequality, I know that the maximum rate of decrease will be obtained when delta xk is aligned along the gradient direction but not along, negative of the gradient direction. Then I will get this minus here. Okay, I will get minus here. This Cauchy inequality, when do you get, what does Cauchy inequality tell you? We had related Cauchy inequality to cos theta angle. Okay. So I am talking about two special angles. One is angle 0, other is angle 180. Okay, negative and positive direction. If you are maximizing the function, you should move along the positive of the gradient direction. If you are minimizing the function, you should move along the negative of the gradient direction, because this difference will be smallest negative. When will it be smallest negative? Look here. When will it be smallest negative? Negative of the gradient direction. Okay. So if I move along the negative of the gradient direction, okay, I will decrease the function. Okay, I will decrease the function. So where I should choose my next point, okay, from xk, when I go to xk plus 1, I should choose my next point, okay, by moving along the negative of the gradient direction, since I am minimizing the function. Okay, my objective was to minimize phi of x with respect to xk, with respect to x. Okay, locally what I find is that locally the function will decrease maximum if I move along negative of the gradient direction. See, what is negative of the gradient direction? If this is grad phi xk divided by norm, right? Okay, and negative of this and negative of this. Why I am dividing by this? Because I am looking at unit vectors. I am looking at unit vectors. So this is a unit vector. Okay, what will be this transpose this square of the, what will be this transpose this? Inner product is square of the norm. Inner product of vector with itself, square of the norm, right? So if you take inner product of this with this, you will get square of this divided by this, you will get negative minus of. Is everyone with me on this? Is this clear? You move in the negative of the gradient direction, the function will locally decrease at the maximum rate. Okay. So that's going to be my algorithm for. So to find xk plus 1, I am going to take xk and minus negative of the gradient direction. So lambda gk, where gk is nothing but grad f xk by norm okay. Is this fine? This is the direction, okay, this is the direction, or we can put plus here and take this minus, doesn't matter, whichever way you want to look. Negative of the gradient direction, I am taking unit direction along the gradient, okay. Of course I am looking at two norm, I am not really right now worried about other norms. So these are all two norms. Wherever I am writing norms, these are two norms. So this is my negative of the gradient direction, and what is this lambda now? Okay, now I know that I know that locally if I go along negative of the gradient direction, function is decreasing. How much do I move? See, I just know that this direction is a steepest descent. Okay, I should move 1 meter, 5 meter, 10 meters. How much should I move? Okay, so I am going to put one unknown here, which is step length. This is my step length and this is my direction. Okay, now how much to move? I am going to do another optimization problem. Okay, having decided to move in this direction, I am going to now solve for this problem. Lambda k is minimization with respect to lambda phi of. Okay, what is the difference between the original problem and this minimization problem? This is a one-dimensional minimization problem. Lambda is a scalar, lambda is a step length. Okay, the direction is fixed, how much to move is given by the step length parameter. Okay, now how to solve this problem? In some cases this problem can be solved analytically, in some cases this problem has to be solved numerically. Okay, now if you go back and if you just go back, this is called as line search, one-dimensional optimization problem. This is called as line search because we know in which direction to move, we just want to find out how much to move. Okay, so this phi becomes, this xk is known, gk is known, lambda is unknown. With respect to one scalar, I have to find out. Of course, what I have to do is to solve for dou phi by dou lambda is equal to 0. I have to find out dou phi by dou lambda equal to 0. Whichever value gives me minimum, whichever value satisfies this optimality condition, I choose that value and use it for my step length. This has to be done in some cases. If phi is a highly complex nonlinear function, this has to be done using nonlinear optimization or using iterative process. You guess and then you find out a minimum. I have described that, but now in the case of solving Ax equal to b, we will have some nice time. We can do this analytically. Okay, so let me go back and is this clear? Is the idea clear? The line of argument is like this. Locally, the steepest or the direction in which objective function decreases maximum is negative of the gradient. Okay, you don't know how much to move, so you know the direction to move, but you do not know how much to move. That is quantified by this lambda. Okay, and then we obtain lambda by one-dimensional minimization with respect to lambda. Okay, I am just going to maximum value of. So I want to see. I want to find out. See, I am decreasing phi, right? Okay. So now, in one shot, I would like to decrease. When I am taking one step, I would like to decrease as much as possible. So how do you find out how much is possible? See, just imagine that you are going down a slope. Okay. Now let's say the slope is like this, and then it flattens out. Okay. Now locally, if you go down for 1 meter, your height will decrease, but your height might decrease even if you go 5 meters, no? So how do you know how much to go? I know that this is local descent, but should I go 1 meter or 3 meters or 5 meters or 9 meters? 9 meters might take me up, I don't know. See, the contour could be like this and then going up. So I should find out what is best possible step length. Okay, I should go so that there is a minimization. Otherwise, see, all this, just remember one thing. You are trying to do a local movement only based on the local derivative. There is limited information one derivative of a function carries. Okay, so you cannot take two large steps using just local gradient information. Okay, and then you should not take two small steps also, right? So to balance that, we actually introduce this lambda, and then we minimize function with respect to lambda again, and then find out how much to move. Okay. Now let's say its application in solving Ax equal to b. Okay. So my phi x here is now I'm going to formulate, just for the sake of writing simplicity, I'm going to say that this is half x transpose Ax minus x transpose b. Okay, and I'm going to solve for the case where A is symmetric positive definite. If your matrix A is not symmetric positive definite, what to do you know already. Pre-multiply both the sides by A transpose, so you don't have to. So I'm just going to look at the case right now for deriving the algorithm. For the sake of simplicity of notation, I'm going to look at the case where A is symmetric and positive definite. Okay. Now let's apply the algorithm. This is my phi. Okay, I have a guess solution. My guess solution is xk. What is the local gradient? What is the local gradient? That is, what is grad phi? Grad phi Ax minus b. Differentiate this with respect to, this is a vector transpose Ax, symmetric positive definite vector. Differentiate with respect to x, differentiate this with respect to x. Derivative of this objective function with respect to x will give you Ax minus b. What is phi xk? Evaluated at xk. Xk is your guess solution. Okay. Axk minus b. Everyone with me on this? Axk minus b. Okay. So what I want to do next, well, I don't have to always find unit direction. I wrote the algorithm with unit direction. I can write it with respect to the direction and use lambda. Lambda will get scaled accordingly. Okay. So I can say that I want to move now in the direction which is lambda gk, where gk is Axk minus b. Axk minus b. Okay. Now you want to do the step length minimization. Can you do the step length minimization? Can you solve it? Just try it. What is the step length minimization problem now? What will be phi x? What will be phi xk plus 1? What is phi xk plus 1? It will be half xk plus lambda gk transpose A xk plus lambda gk right, minus what are the things which are known here? I know xk, I know gk, because gk is function of xk, I know gk, I don't know only lambda. Okay, can you tell me what will be this quantity? Dou phi x k plus 1 by dou lambda. I want to set this equal to 0. What is this quantity? What is this quantity? Just find out. Well, there is one small problem here. I want to move in the negative of the gradient direction. So this is, make one correction. I want to move in the negative of the gradient direction. The gradient direction is this, negative of the gradient direction is, okay. So this is the gradient direction, and my gk, direction in which I want to move, is negative of the gradient direction. So put minus here, put a minus here. Well, what you have to do, of course, is expand this. What you will realize is that the terms xk transpose a xk will vanish because they are not functions of lambda. You have to only take those terms in which lambda will appear. There will be cross terms, and there will be lambda square will come out because lambda square gk transpose a gk. Okay. Here again you can neglect the term xk transpose b because it is not function of lambda. You can take only this term. Okay. What do you get after you minimize? Just expand, just try. What is this quantity? You don't have to substitute this. You don't have to substitute this. You maintain everything in terms of gk. Okay? Maintain everything in terms of gk. Try to find out what is, which value of lambda will give you what I expect is if you do this scalar optimization problem, you should get an equation. Just check this. You should get an equation of the type lambda into gk transpose a gk minus b transpose gk equal to 0. You will get an equation of this type. Just check. If you expand this, when you expand this, you will get only one variable polynomial. You will get only one variable polynomial, lambda square, lambda and constant. You will get only one variable polynomial because lambda is a scalar, g is a known vector, x is a known vector. Okay? So actually it turns out that lambda k, which minimizes this, is nothing but b transpose gk divided by gk transpose a gk. Okay, so my algorithm, my numerical algorithm becomes, how do you summarize the numerical algorithm? Okay, this is my numerical algorithm. How do I go from xk to xk plus 1? I first compute negative of the gradient direction. See, what is the simplicity here? No matrix inversion is involved. No matrix inversion is involved. Okay, I just have to compute the gradient direction. Gradient direction is nothing but actually error between right hand side and left hand side. This is my guess solution. This is my B. Actually I want this. When will you get the solution? Gradient becomes equal to 0. What is the meaning of gradient becoming equal to 0? You have reached the solution. Very, very straightforward, simple interpretation in this case. If gradient becomes equal to 0, gradient becoming equal to 0 is the necessary condition for optimality. Right? Gradient becoming equal to 0 is a necessary condition of optimality. When, if the gradient is non-zero, okay, you will keep moving. How much to move? Lambda k times gk. How much to move? Lambda k times gk. Okay, this is the optimum step length. If you move less than this, okay, then you are not decreasing the function enough. If you do more than this, that will not help. Okay, using the local gradient, you can move only this much. Okay, you can the local gradient, you can move only this much. This is the optimum value to which you should move every time. This is a scalar calculation. This is an inner product calculation. This is an inner product calculation. A is symmetric positive definite. This is inner product calculation. Okay, calculating this scalar is very easy. Calculating this error, very easy. When will you terminate? When will you terminate the iterations? When gk is very small, right? So I could terminate the iterations by saying gk, norm gk is less than some epsilon. Norm gk is very small. Or you could also, sometimes it's better to check whether you can put this also, gk plus 1 minus gk this can be a termination criteria if there is no significant change in the derivative. Okay, if you have very large matrices, this is very useful. This method can quickly come to the solutions, particularly if A is symmetric positive definite, then you can reach the solution. I think there is a specific result about this. I'll talk about it later. There is a modification of this called as conjugate gradient method, and we'll talk about the conjugate gradient method too. Very quickly in the next lecture, and then I'll move on to well conditioned and ill conditioned systems. So this method actually is very often used for solving large scale problems, and computations involved are very simple. You just have to compute the gradient direction and inner products, okay, and you can very quickly get approximate solutions of, or you can quickly go very close to the true solution using this method, okay.